So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats, and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day.
I'm through most of it, only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since two members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage onto Pandora. They're going to be able to pick up the kill twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon stock dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the second place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day, and like it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustrator taking this next map.
Hello everybody, so this is going to be the first CEA live for the season, and right now we have myself, Pulse, Peter, and Brad coming at you with some hot news, really to just start out the season and get everything rolling, because I'm sure everyone's mind right now is going to be on that preseason, on those first matches this weekend, pretty much all of the changes we've been making in the background. So to start out, Brad, how about you give a quick introduction for anyone that hasn't met you, and then same goes for Peter, and then I'll go over myself a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm Brad, and I am just so excited to be here for our inaugural CEA Live, our first of the season. Really glad that we can finally start to use these live shows to tell these awesome stories about the CEA, and I'm really particularly excited about this one where we get to preview the whole season. I have a lot of thoughts and hot takes, and I'm really hoping Pulse can handle it. So I'm Brad. I kind of run things around here in the CEA, and that's kind of what I do. Peter, who are you?
So I'm the game lead for League of Legends. I'll be trying to host the tournament this season. We're really looking forward to it. We're going to see some great matches, I'd say. We have some great teams. And I'm really excited to see how it plans out this season.
And for anyone that hasn't met me, I'm Pulse, the game lead for Overwatch. I also go by Alex for anyone that just prefers real names, but everyone knows me as Pulse right now. And I'm the freshest red badge, actually, for CEA. So that means my name just turned red. I'm sort of helping out with admin, helping out with broadcast now after having some good grand final shows and making Brad really just be like, hey, you want to do some broadcasting over here? So
Yeah. That's kind of how that happened.
Yeah, so basically, I'm sure people will be seeing a lot more of me across games that aren't Overwatch now, just because I'll be helping out with broadcasts and everything that entails. But we have a couple things coming up this weekend before we get into more details about broadcasts, and that is the preseason matchings. So, as everyone knows, and as Brad has been posting regularly on some of the announcement channels, preseason matches are this Saturday. So what does that mean? Registration deadline Friday. What does that mean? Brad, you want to talk some about getting into preseason, the captain's match, the captain's preseason meeting, and sort of all the things coming up on Saturday.
Yeah. So we'll do some public service announcements so that everyone viewing can kind of know, from the horse's mouth, if you will, what's going to happen. And then I really want to get into kind of telling these stories because I'm just so excited about it. So CEA is, let's say it's a competitive environment. I've heard before that the difference between the CEA and the Super Bowl is that no one wants to win the Super Bowl this badly. My experience has been that's correct. So what we do is we do this captain's meeting at 11 a.m. PT on this coming Saturday, the 12th. Just to get everyone kind of in the right state of mind, make sure everyone knows what's going on, what's expected of them. You can't win the championship if you don't know when your game is. So, little details like that and making sure everyone gets ungilded. as to what Gilded is. Gilded is the platform on which we run our tournaments. So, it's just a piece of bracketing software that kind of looks a little bit like Discord. Make sure your team is on there by Saturday for everyone viewing and for anyone watching this VOD. Because if you're not there, you can't play your match. And if you can't play your match, you're not going to have a good time. And then I can't like rag on you about and all the stories you're going to miss. So very important we get those two things done.
Yeah, and of course, the preseason match really is just a chance for everyone to get a hang of it. It doesn't count towards season standings. It's entirely to make sure you're comfortable with Gilded, you're comfortable with CEA in general, you're comfortable with match reporting, and all of the sort of niceties about every single match going on. So it's really just that one single chance at the start of the season to screw up as much as you want and really have no drawbacks whatsoever.
Right. It doesn't matter. You can lose your match and it doesn't affect your standings for the rest of the season. You cannot show up to the match if you can't figure it out, and it doesn't affect your standings for the rest of the season. But it's good to get the practice in. Oh my lord.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, as they say. But Peter, do you have anything to contribute to Gilded? I know some teams last season had some troubles, especially the first week, the second week, but honestly, any pro tips for some of the people looking out to make sure that they're on Gilded and set up for this weekend?
Just make sure that you go in and register your team. Make sure you register your individual players onto the team, that they have account. For League of Legends specifically, we also require you to have your Riot account tied to your Gilded account, just so that way we can make sure who you are when we go into matches.
Okay.
Very important. We're particularly excited about some stat tracking for League of Legends. The Gilded's going to be deploying just before the season starts. That's really exciting for us.
And to bank off of that, we're actually going to be using tournament codes, hopefully, with those stats. So that's one of the big things we have looking forward to this season.
Very nice. And as with Gilded 2, the server's already set up in there, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on Discord or on Gilded. There'll be some chances, I'm sure, later on where we'll be popping into Twitch chat and answering things as they come on, but for the most part, ping any of us, we'll be able to get you set up with pretty much anything that you need. And once again, the preseason captain's meeting is an opportunity to fix sort of all of those scenarios, make sure that you're set up for this weekend.
Right, precisely that.
But moving on, Gilded is something we have done in the past, but you know what else we've done in the past? And that's run a couple CEA tournaments. So this is our third round for the CEA, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brad.
But fourth, I think, actually.
Fourth.
It's fall, right?
Yeah, fourth round. So
wow,
a little bit older than I thought we were. But this is by far one of the most intensive seasons we've taken on. We have a lot more initiatives. We have a lot more games. You want to cover us on all the games that we've been talking about and have people registering for right now?
Well, I mean, you want to talk about games, look no further than Valorant. I mean, easily the biggest, new game we've ever introduced. As of today, we had, I think it's like the second highest in team count already, and that number is rising. Very excited to see Valorant in particular because the diversity and skill in that game is so high. I mean, the people who are the best at it, the people who are coming from CS:GO, 1.6 and CS:GO are incredible. They're, through the roof good, and people like me who are just getting used to it are, not. So, watching as those skill levels gradually equalize over the season as people get better is going to be really fun.
Yeah, watching as we that might be something that we'll have to do later. Just watch Brad put him in a game of Valorant while we're all talking for a future CEA live. We can just all spec Brad, do the strategy where like 4 players just pocket one person. I want to see that with Brad, actually. But as I'm sure for anyone that's been around, anyone that's been looking on our Discord, we're covering quite a few games this season. We have Rocket League, we have CS:GO, we have StarCraft, League of Legends, CS:GO again for some reason, but Overwatch, Dota, Valorant, Hearthstone. So I believe it's 8 games that I listed, and it's really from a admin perspective or a game lead perspective. This is always the busiest week of the year. We always get the most registrations the last 2 weeks. Yeah. I think yesterday alone, you said that we had 16 fresh registrations. So
actually, I revisited. That number was 20, and then by the time I had posted it that morning, we already had more today than we did yesterday.
Yeah,
so we had 20 in the space of 3 hours.
We should have some of those initial Gilded matchups posted soon, but as you can see, things are really crazy this week, so we'll get those up at the first opportunity we can. where teams start to slowly register. So hopefully either tonight, tomorrow afternoon, somewhere around those, and you should start seeing your matchups get populated. We can always add more, but we do need to go in and kind of check some of those. Right. Additionally, from the last couple of years that we've been doing, this is the most games, but last year we had quite a few records break for the amount of money that we were able to donate to charity too. So if you've been around the announcements channel, and around May of last year, so you got to see all of those numbers. But we've supported, do you have it off the top of your head, Brad, how many charities? It's been about 10 or so that got sizable donations last year.
Yeah, I mean a bunch, right? I mean, in particular, $11,000 going to Child's Play, thousands and thousands of dollars going to some incredible causes around the world. It's all available on CEA.gg, and people can check it out on their own. But it just makes me so proud to do what we do. For organizations like Doctors Without Borders, for Charity Water, for Child's Play, the CEA's donation is super impactful. It's big and it's well directed. But for a lot of the other charities we donate to, these smaller organizations, the CEA's donation is the largest they'll see all year. And it's so great that the power of esports is able to do that and change the world in that way.
Yeah, very cool. And one of the other things coming from the last couple seasons is we always have to talk about teams to look out for, right? Just because while CEA does have some turnover every now and then with teams coming in and out or players dropping in and out for teams, because it is very stressful to continually be scrimming on a team. So we do have a lot of players coming in for a season and taking a break for 1 or 2 seasons. You really have to sort of imagine that a lot of the top teams that do have returning players are going to stay near the top. And that's always something to keep out for. So for Peter, for LOL for this season, any returning teams that you really want to keep your eyes on going into this season?
We got a couple good teams. It's going to be definitely fiercely contested this season. We have the winners from last season, Amazon Stockdiff. They are ready to go and they're registered. We also have a Google team. They're going to be a really hot contender. You're also going to have Raytheon, and then also Microsoft are going to probably be some of the top teams to be looking out for.
Yeah, and I know, Brad, you tend to follow StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible to me, the dominance that Amazon, on the point of Amazon, the dominance that Amazon has exhibited, particularly in that game over the past few seasons. And, this season is going to be a challenge for them to hang on with, some personnel changes in the company. And I'm very excited to see the team they put together. In fact, my inside sources say they have some very exciting things to announce about their player base. So we'll see what happens there. But the question for this season is Alexa 12 pool, the returning champions, going to be able to defend their title? And it's anyone's guess.
Yeah, and I know particularly for Overwatch, I've seen quite a few returning teams, but also some that have decided to step down for this season and or move to other games. Like I've seen quite a few names on Valorant pop up from returning teams, or some teams that have actually moved to Valorant. But yeah. I do know the second place team that was a little bit upset was also from Amazon. So spoiler alert, a lot of Amazon teams. And we actually do have 2 special guests coming up in a little bit to kind of talk about some of their past victories and brag a little bit. But the returning second place Amazon team run by Pandalogics is in the bracket again. So that's really going to be the team to beat for Overwatch this season. They looked very strong last year. We have a couple returning teams with some player swaps. Like I do know Raytheon is coming back. Raytheon Rectifiers I saw in the registration sheet earlier. And a few others. So should be really fun to see some of the new teams.
We can't breeze over the Pandalogic team. I mean, those guys are so committed. They did not take that second place finish last season very well at all. And you got to imagine they're going to come back in here having practiced all summer, ready to go. I think they want to win this.
Yeah, and you did hear a little bit of the video too that we started out this broadcast with. Some interviews from that team as well, just talking about how they wanted more, how they wanted it all. We also have a returning former second place team from our first season of running Overwatch, run by Nolly from Microsoft. So both those teams really, I think, a little upset they haven't gotten first yet, but got to push through and make sure you get it this time around.
Yeah, I mean, it's real hard to participate in the competition like CEA, where, I mean, the level of competition is absolutely at or near, the pro esports level. And to come in second place there, oh man, I mean, you just feel like you could have done more.
You get so close,
Right. Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, so we'll hear more about that soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. But speaking about some of the new things coming into the season, not only are there new teams, there are some new things with the brackets that we've been working out. We did get a lot of feedback about the specific style that we ran last year, some good, some bad. But Brad, you want to talk about that some? Talk about some of the
Yeah.
changes that have been made?
Yeah, so what I we study intensely, and we do a lot of kind of very honest kind of data gathering when seasons end about how well our tournament was run, and how close matchups were, how exciting matchups were, how much fun they were. As a result of CEA, are you talking to someone you haven't talked to before? Have you met someone you haven't met before? We want to really emphasize that CEA is used for team building, for community building, and also to create really fun situations to play in. So to that end, we took a hard look at our bracket, and we kind of did some analysis as to what kinds of matchups it was giving us. And the answer was pretty good. Last season was the most successful season we've ever had in terms of putting people together in the ways we'd want to pair them. But there was a small change we wanted to make. So for those of you returning, if you're new, you can completely ignore this part. For those of you returning, you may be used to the upper round robin bracket in your game. So that's going to be gone. So what we're going to do, and now if you're new, you can tune back in. We're going to start with a Swiss bracket. So we're going to do 5 weeks of just normal Swiss tournament. So the winners are going to play the winners and the losers are going to play the losers. And pretty soon you're going to be in a skill band that looks like your skill level. And then to decide who goes to the playoffs, we're going to have this staged system where the people that are 5-0 are going to be playing for seeding. The people that are 3-2 and 2-3 are going to be playing to see if they make it into the playoffs. And the people who are below that are going to be playing for fun. And that kind of bracket is going to make sure that, first of all, the system is understandable. People know what they're signing up for and what they can expect based on given results. And even more importantly than that, we're going to have fun matchups and people are going to have a good time in the CEA.
Yeah, so one of our goals is to honestly prioritize fun. Like, that is at the core. People wouldn't be signing up for this if it's not fun, right? And for anyone that was around last season with like the top 8 round robin stage, there was a lot of contention around sort of the bottom spots of that, because if you're getting rolled every week, you're not having fun, right? And
Right.
while we have the initial stage before playoffs about the same 8-week time period, it's just changing up the group into, because before it was like this sort of lower Swiss into group, it's going to be an entire Swiss into groups, so that the actual groups, when they come around, it's going to be a little bit more evenly divided, and you'll be able to get into those even matches towards the end there.
Right, and I see in chat Shadow 8 asking what happened to the top 8 round robin from Rocket League. Shadow 8, it had an accident. It disappeared. We'll let you know if we find it. But for now, everyone's just in the same group.
Yeah, so it's not entirely to get rid of it. We do want those even matches, but it's just attempting another way of getting to those even matches towards the middle part of the season.
Yeah, and then especially in a game like Rocket League, we think we're going to be very successful at that.
Mm-hmm. So one of the other big things that we've heard about for this year, in opposed to the brackets, so we've fixed some of the brackets this year. We've taken a lot of feedback in the rule sets, but the other two big things, Valorant, which you kind of hit on earlier, and we also have broadcast this year, which this is kind of an example of, kind of not, because we did start CEA Live for the first time last spring. But when we're talking about broadcast, we're actually have some really big plans for pretty much every week of the season. CEA Live is going to be reoccurring, at least at this point we hope it will be, so every other week or so is our current plan on that. And we'll just have topics to come in and shout at people, so that people that want to be involved in the league or want to start recognizing some faces, there'll be a chance to, come in, chill for an hour, take your mind off things with us. But the bigger goal for broadcast right now is that we will be broadcasting matches every single week of the regular season, in addition to the grand finals. I've sort of been helping direct Brad for a long time of that until recently, in which I have more or less taken that over. But broadcasts. So there's been a lot going on. I've been losing some hairs over it, Brad. You wanna tell these nice people why that you're making me mauled?
Oh man, I mean, I wish I could share with everyone the stories that come out of CEA. And it's not just this amazing play that happened that resulted in this victory, which are amazing on their own. But just, the what I've heard from people about the way, friendships and relationships have formed, I can tell people on this broadcast for sure. People have changed companies as a result of CEA. They've been promoted as a result of the CEA. They have gotten into, I mean, in one case, a romantic relationship with someone they met in the Corporate Esports Association, and that's amazing. And it's so important where they are appropriate that we get to tell these stories. So not just telling the stories of the amazing, the competition going on, but also, hey man, this game didn't go so good, and now you got to see these guys on Monday. How is that going to go for you?
Yeah, how are you gonna like show up and like
Show your face, yeah, in the company
especially at some of
cafeteria.
those teams that have like more especially at some of the companies that have more teams at them. You go in, it's
Yeah.
like, you knocked me out of the bracket today. What are you doing?
Right? Yeah, we're both with Amazon, man. Same team. Yeah, and just so everyone's aware, there are I think over 100 companies participating in CEA this season. So don't worry, it's not just an Amazon only competition. Although we've made it sound that way so far.
Yeah, we kind of have a little bit. But yeah, the point's really to get more people under spotlights. Highlight
Right.
some of the teams that might not get a chance to be on a broadcast because right now in the past couple seasons, if you weren't first or second seed, there was really no good opportunity to bring people on. Just to like
Right.
honestly let them have an experience in the esports spotlight, So it's really we're trying to experiment with a format that doesn't really require having the highest level of play, but also gives teams pretty much across the board, as long as you're willing to step in and talk about it for a bit, a chance to really spotlight themselves, spotlight their company, spotlight their charity, and just really talk to us about your goals. So
Right.
we have some wonderful casters coming on. If you're familiar with the Overwatch scene, I know some people that we managed to bring on that actually do Overwatch contenders. We have some big names in some other games as well, StarCraft, League of Legends, and
Valorant.
Valorant, Rocket League. So a lot of games that we're hoping to cover and give teams an opportunity to sort of shine through there.
Yeah. Yeah, really important we get to showcase, just the amazing talent and like frankly plot lines that occur in the CEA and follow different stories as they progress. Personally, I think I'm going to be very excited to see it, and I think everyone else is too. I think this is going to gain a lot of momentum.
It'd be nice if it does, just because it shows that people enjoy it, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
confirmation of what we already know, right?
Fingers crossed. Hoping. But yeah, so Peter, you've been hiding in your corner, being a little quiet as of late.
I can't help it.
So how about this? What are your thoughts on Valorant? Because so far we've heard a lot from Brad about Valorant. I've been kind of prompting Brad, but
That depends. Do we want to talk about the fact how they had to patch a certain champion out of the game for a short while?
Yeah,
So, and we should talk about how that's going to affect the season too. I mean, the Valorant is in a state, so look at like a game like StarCraft, right, where like a 1% movement speed increase can change the entire meta. In Valorant, we're losing and gaining heroes kind of willy nilly as we go. Teams that can respond to those changes are going to do a lot better in this competition.
I mean, that's just going to go to really any game. I mean, because the meta just changes so frequently. I mean, League changes every couple of months, really. And every time the patch changes, it's going to change the meta. Typically, pretty good every time. You're going to have champions fall out, champions come back in, just in terms of strength. And they released the patch recently that's going to be played for Worlds, and they just buffed a couple champions, and we're expecting them to be probably seeing a lot of play in the World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there in terms of who's going to do well and who isn't. But in Valorant in particular, when we talk about who's really good at Valorant, I think we often talk about Counter-Strike players, right? Well, I got news for you guys. Counter-Strike hasn't substantially changed in like 10 years. So for every week there to be a new patch to come out, I think that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, and it's going to affect the way they're able to compete.
Yeah, it definitely. I know for Overwatch at least, we've had a rough history of the past 2 seasons we've run Overwatch where Blizzard puts out a change like 2 weeks before our grand finals match.
Right.
So that's never
specifically
fun.
designed to nerf Microsoft. Yeah, I think I recall that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there'll literally be like 9 months of a meta, and then just at like the very like 2 last weeks of the season, it's just big like meta shift where everything like that happens. So teams that
Pulse,
are moving
I-
from Overwatch to Valorant, I think actually might have a little bit of a
I think they may, and I see Nally in chat. We're gonna pay for her therapy after this. I think you're right. I think there actually is, knowing how to practice for changes is definitely going to be a huge leg up in a game where nothing is static.
yeah, and like honestly, Valorant hasn't had a long story history, so it's gonna be like one of those times where Overwatch comes out, and in our predecessor with AHGL, where it's just covered the first season, like people have an idea how to play it. It's been around, it's been in the pro meta, but like it hasn't really trickled down to the community as much as it had in some other games. So people are still going to be improving over the course of a season and everything along those lines as well.
Well, and that just goes to like this huge disparity in skill between, the people who are really good at this, who, by the way, are not as good as Valorant as, say, Overwatch players are at Overwatch or League of Legends players are at League of Legends. This is a game that's still being discovered. And then on the other end, the communication is kind of broken. I think the pro players are not, kind of disseminating strategies the way we see in other games. So it's going to be a very interesting scene to watch, what strategies become popular where and why.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of time more than anything, right?
Right. Yeah, very much so. But excited to see it.
Definitely. And I do see some stuff going around chat. And just to answer a couple quick questions before we move on to our next sort of big surprise that we have. Yes, we actually are looking at doing a lot more community building stuff. Pugs for Overwatch has been something that I've been putting on every now and then. I'm sure it's a little bit obvious now that I've had my time with broadcast for the past, week or so, but I am looking at doing some pugs again very shortly. So
Yeah, and across all games, I think it'd be great if we could organize more like community nights like that. Those are awesome.
I can't speak for other games, but I know League of Legends has some stuff on the side.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff.
my 30-second pitch for Overwatch pugs in particular, you guys should come because we have Reinhardt and Torb WarioWare. So that's all you need to know. Just show up. You get to play Torb WarioWare.
Yeah, I think giving everyone a chance to connect like that is really awesome, and I'm glad we're doing it.
All right. So we are going to take a very short break here. I'm just going to run the video again while we sort of get a couple guests in for the closing part of this, or not closing, but really second half of the CEA Live. And we will see you when we come back from that video.
So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day.
I'm through most of it. Only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since 2 members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage onto Pandora. They're going to be able to pick up the kill. Twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the second place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day, and like it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustracer taking this next map.
So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats, and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day.
I'm through most of it. Only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since 2 members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage onto Pandora. Are going to be able to pick up the kill. Twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the 2nd place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day, and like it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustracer taking this next map.
We are back now, and we have our 2 special guests, Viz and Nolly. So they're joining us from 2 respective teams, 2 respective games. But go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll start with Nolly because she's above my head.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I'm the
Go ahead
captain
and-
of the Microsoft Overwatch team. So I currently work at Microsoft. I started around a year ago, and I'm currently working on Remote Assist, which is a remote calling application for mixed reality for the HoloLens 2. Really dream job right there. So I've been on the Microsoft Overwatch team. I created it back 2 seasons ago. So yeah, and we are also going to be participating in this season. So really excited for that.
Yeah, and Nally, I was talking a while ago about storylines. I'm very excited for you to share your perspective of your storyline during your big run a couple seasons ago.
Oh, right now?
in a second, we'll give
Yeah.
our other
I
guest.
have a lot of things to say, that's why.
Yeah, we'll give our other guest Viz a quick chance to introduce themselves and anything that they're willing to share about where they work and what games they play in.
Sure, I'll keep it super quick since we're super excited to get into the main topics. My name is Joe. You can call me Vizera as my IGN. I have been working at Amazon since late 2017, where I participated in 1 season of HGL, and then I've participated in every CEA season since, winning twice so far, kind of on 2 different rosters for the League of Legends game. At Amazon, I'm an executive assistant. I support a recruiting organization, and it's just been a lot of fun getting to meet people through CEA, getting to play League of Legends with a bunch of different fun, fantastic people. And now I serve as like the broader CEA organizer for the company. So happy to serve as a good point of contact for people interested in learning more.
Yeah, and we've kind of
go
been
ahead.
teasing Amazon for having so many teams, but Viz over there, that's the person you're gonna need to talk to. So
Yes, yeah. If you are an Amazon person watching this video, this is the guy for you. And I kind of wanted to talk about that, if that's all right, Viz. So
Yeah.
this is your first season in a very big role. Can you talk about how you've adapted to it, how Amazon's adapted to you? What do you think of being the CEA company organizer?
And more
Definitely.
importantly, what do you think of Peter? Like, just give us your smack. Just give us your smack at the end of
As a
it.
human being.
I think Peter is a tremendous human being and a fantastic person to partner with and work on. But please don't make me lane with him in game. I will never ever enjoy that experience, no matter how hard he tries. Because I'll ruin it for him. He has such a great atmosphere and such a great personality that I know that I'll make a dumb play, and then he'll be like, "No worries, he'll get him next time." But I know
Way
deep
to
down
bring
he's
it back.
thinking elsewhere.
Way to bring
I'm
it back.
reformed, Biz. I'm reformed. I don't blame anymore.
No, Peter's fantastic. Excited to work with him in like a additional level of responsibility. So I guess just like a quick TLDR is I stepped in to fulfill the roles of a previous organizer by the name of Josh. Super awesome guy. He's now working at I believe some startup game dev studio in Austin. So great for him. And basically what this means is Josh kind of served as the function of, hey, let's tell everyone about this tournament at Amazon. Let's get people involved. Let's get people to participate. Let's build a community for each of these games. And he really, from just a grassroots level, did that marketing, that initial outreach, and built this infrastructure at the company where people know, like, oh, here's like an email alias that you can email and subscribe to get information about this kind of stuff. So he built all that like groundwork layer stuff, and then he obviously transitioned out. So this is my first season filling in, and what I really wanted to do was, for starters, just try and reconnect with all the community leads, because I had been a part of CEA, like I mentioned before, for every season for LoL, but only within like the LoL sphere, if you will. I didn't really branch out into like CSGO or Overwatch because I didn't really have any purpose to do so. But now as an organizer, I've needed to kind of reach out once again and build a connection and establish what I'm referring to as game leads within Amazon, so I can have like, oh, I know this person who knows the greater Overwatch community. He can help me, she can help me build like a registration process for those teams. And I did that for all of the 8 games, and I imagine in future seasons we'll have more, which is fantastic. But that was kind of my plan going into it, was to just reconnect with all those game leads and community leaders and get them to buy in as well, so that we can have kind of this self-motivating process that people already a part of a community want to kind of create this new endeavor to get more people in their community involved, rather than just having one guy send out a bunch of emails saying, hey, look at this cool tournament, which it's cool, but it's a lot more effective to have people already involved be the ones leading the charge, if you catch my drift.
Very much so. And a question, so we have you who's organizing for Amazon, and we have Nally, who kind of leads the Microsoft organization effort. And what a question that's interesting to me. So we not, I don't want to sound creepy, but we do study you guys a little bit. We're very aware of who you are, and
Brad, you want to rephrase that a little bit, or
we let Nally out of her tank just for this interview. We're very interested in kind of the effect that CEA has on your careers and you on the careers of the people who play in the CEA. In fact, one person who's kind of in your position described himself as a result of the CEA as a bit of a power broker within his own company, because now he knows everyone. Are you starting to feel that effect? Either of you, are you feeling that effect at all as you get deeper in?
Yeah, so I can give a bit of context for the Microsoft corporate initiative. So basically, it just started around back in January, actually. So it has only been around 9 months. And I pretty much created because I realized, like, hey, I have no idea if we have like a Rocket League team, or like I don't really know anybody else who might be in the same.
Hell of a Rocket League team.
Yeah. I'm gonna praise them a lot later on, but anyways, yeah, it was really crazy to me that we have this like really good Rocket League team that I wasn't even aware of, and like most of the company wasn't aware of, and I was just thinking it's so hard. Like Microsoft is such a big company, and we have so much corporate talent, but it's really weird to me that nobody realizes like how good our Microsoft teams actually are. So I created this initiative to really try to spread awareness within Microsoft for all of our employees to be proud of all of the corporate talent we have, and also to just get people to play together. So in my case, as the captain of the Microsoft Overwatch team, like these people that I've been playing with the past 2 seasons for CEA, like these people I still play with them. I always talk with them. We even went hiking together, and it's really crazy because if it wasn't for CEA, I would never have met them. And I think that's really like the magic of CEA. It's being able to have like a really cool esports experience within the corporate world, because I used to be in my college esports team back when I was in college, and that was, for me, I thought it was over, but I'm really glad that CEA exists.
Was it like the Tespa branch or something along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Viz, I'm sure nothing like that sounds anything like Amazon.
I sympathize a lot with what Natalie said. I'll keep my
Yeah.
response very brief and kind of segment into two parts. One is the corporate side, one is the social side. Corporate wise, I can't necessarily yet provide credit to the CEA for getting me promoted in my role or something of that nature. However, I have made dozens upon dozens of different connections with different individuals in different working groups, different organizations at Amazon, etc. Who, we have had those conversations of, what do you do for your job? Like what does a visual designer do? What does this kind of engineer work do? Or what does this group do at Amazon? That has really led me to like pursue different avenues of exploration that I had originally not thought I would be taking this early in my career. And it's really, really great, even if it doesn't necessarily lead to like a particular job or promotion or something. It's really nice being able to have that opportunity to just explore and get to know these individuals, so that if in the case that I ever do want to pursue one of those options, I already have, for lack of a better word, like a foot in the door. So it's absolutely fantastic. But I will share socially, and I'm not being paid by Brad to say this, I swear. I can basically credit the majority of my social relationships since I moved here to Seattle for the Amazon job to the CEA. The majority of my really close friend group here that I hang out with pre-COVID like every other day was because I met them through playing in the tournament, right? It was my league team, and then they introduced me to people on their teams at Amazon, and then it just kind of naturally branched out from there. But similar to college, where I relied on games and like the esports clubs to kind of network, I did the same approach here at Amazon, and I can say wholeheartedly that without the CEA tournament, I may not have met some of my best friends that I hang out with regularly today.
Okay, cut the stream here. We're done. I'm happy. That's all I
Great
wanted.
note. Let's go.
Take done. Let's go home. Just
Viz, in all seriousness, it really warms my heart to hear that, and I'm so glad that this little thing that I started doing as a hobby 10 years ago has affected your life in that way. It means a lot to me.
10
Appreciate it.
years
Thank you.
ago.
Yeah, man. That's how long I've been doing corporate
It's
esports.
crazy.
Brad's
Yeah.
a boomer, as we say in the business. But yeah, no, I can honestly resonate with a lot of that too, because when I first heard about CEA, spoiler, I work at Cisco, but Cisco doesn't have a team, obviously. And I was just like, hey, I don't have a team. Let's see if they do it. And Cisco wasn't really too gung-ho about supporting it, so I was just like, I contacted Brad when CEA was starting, and it was just a lot of, yeah, my company doesn't have a team. I kind of want to play, but I can't. So you need help on anything? And it just honestly kind of came from there. And 3 seasons later of
Red
doing
name,
Overwatch, man. I have a red name now.
Yeah.
I'm teaching Brad how to use broadcast technology and just fixing his Discord permissions.
Look,
because he doesn't know how to run a Discord.
I turned 30 like a month ago. It's hard to teach me new things at this point. Just bear with me. I'm doing my best.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk more about. Well, I mean, now that we have everyone here, I mean, can we get to the teams? Like, I'm just so excited to hear more about what's going to happen this season. Is that a yes? Can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Release the Brad.
Release him.
So, I mean, I kind of want to start. Nally, can you explain to me why I'm going to have to spend the next 13 weeks pretending like some other team is going to win Rocket League than you guys again for the 5th time in a row?
Thanks for pretending.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited, particularly about that game. Have you guys taken a look at the bracket yet?
Not yet.
So in the Rocket League season, we have a lot of like returning. I mean, these are companies whose team members would be, I mean, they're semi-pro at worst. I mean, they could easily participate at like very high levels, and they're here in the CEA, and Microsoft's going to trounce all of them, and it's not going to be close. And I mean, it's almost just a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah, and what is it? We have something like 30, 40 Rocket League teams again already this season right now?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's yeah, and like we're probably like, at half of our total capacity. Like it is going to be a huge game for us this season, and it is just going to get, I mean, the dunking is going to be huge, and I'm not talking about hoops mode. I mean, the skill level in that game in particular is through the roof.
Yeah,
It's
I actually
Rocket
just
League
checked. Rocket League is 37 teams right now.
Yeah.
Was it the most popular game last season?
Yeah.
I think League of Legends. Oh, was it? Okay.
I think it was
Yeah.
Rocket League, League, and then Overwatch in order. But
Yeah.
League and Overwatch were like one team difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy, you know, with the three person cap, and like, and if you watch a Rocket League game, like, doesn't it just feel so accessible? It's so easy to get into.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
easy to watch too. Yeah.
Right, like you kind of know what's going on. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Very, very, very excited to see that. Viz? How's Amazon's Rocket League shaping up? Have you been paying any attention to that?
I have. I mean, I've kind of been forced to by
You're welcome.
Verge. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, no, seriously, it's been a pleasure getting to meet and connect with folks who I didn't really have any incentive, I suppose, to introduce myself to earlier on. We've got a bunch of teams. We're still kind of in the process of finalizing the very last couple teams to register, but I'm pretty hopeful. I always forget, my apologies, the ranking system, but I do know we have some, I think 2 teams full of the top highest rank that can be earned in the solo ladder. So I have high
Are you saying
expectations.
there's competition here? Hang on, slow down.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
This is the news of the century. So how good are they? I mean, are they going to win this?
I mean, they told me they were going to win, so I'm just going to throw that out there.
Are you sure?
No, it's a good question, because here's what I'll say: the Ninja Cats are not the kind of team that you can just be better at individually and still beat. You've got to prepare for them, and I think if they've got a strategy to do it, I'm excited to see it.
I'd be very excited to see how their practice goes and what in measures they'll take to defeat the Ninja Cats. I will say, and you can hear this a lot from me and Peter throughout the season, Brad, but at Amazon, we raise the bar, okay? And that doesn't just apply to our immediate work. It also applies to everything we do in life. And if it means beating the Ninja Cats and raising the bar in Rocket League performance, we'll do that too.
Remember, Viz, you and Peter are contractually obligated to give us at least 4 more leadership principles before the end of this call. So do your best to fit those in as we go, please.
Yeah. Peter's slacking a little bit on those. You gotta, step it up.
Yeah,
Listen.
jump on in, Peter. Don't make leaders are always right. What's the one about always saying the right thing?
There's a
All
team.
right,
All right, a
light.
lot.
All
All
right,
right,
Yeah.
a lot.
light.
All right, a lot. Yeah.
But that's why I don't speak as much, because when I speak, I'm right a lot.
Every time you speak, both of those sentences. That's good. You stay with that.
Yeah. We have heard actually quite a bit, I think, so far about how both Amazon and Microsoft sort of have been approaching this, some initiatives coming up. Is there anything that either of your companies are doing right now to actively sort of enable you guys or support corporate esports in some way or another? Or are they just kind
So
of like,
unfortunately, I guess so far we haven't had a lot of support, like officially. But I think that's more like the corporate, like the company stance, because the people that I reach out to within the company to try to ask help from, they're always like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I would really be glad to help you guys." But officially, there's like no rules or like official help. Like for example, our official Microsoft soccer teams, for example, or any other sports, they actually have a budget for coaching and all of that. But obviously, since like corporate, since like corporate esports is not really considered like an actual sport, we don't really have funding. But my goal with this initiative is to really be like, hey, like there's like 1,000, like 2,000 people that are in this initiative, like, and you can see that there's a lot of people that are actually making teams and really mingling together. So can we have budget?
well, I mean, it just makes it a lot more impressive what you've been getting away with up to this point, right? Like,
Right.
the fact that you've been finding all these people and putting together really competitive teams is really more of a pat on the back to yourself more than anything, right?
Yeah, like I think for me, the best part of last season was really seeing that for the semifinals in almost every CEA game, we had one Microsoft team at least, and I think some of them even went to like win the finals. So for me, it's like we have so much good talent. I just wish we had more official support. But yeah, I think we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll talk about this at some point, but last season really was the season of Microsoft. I mean, you guys won like everything. You were in the top 3, I think, in every single game we played. Yeah, a ton of corporate talent over there.
Yeah, and yeah, I think like it's pretty crazy because I think in our teams this season we got a lot of new employees who weren't even aware about CA actually last season that are actually pretty high ranked in a few games. So I think now we're actually going to have even stronger teams. So I think we'll be getting a lot more finalists for Microsoft.
I don't know how you're going to even fit them in, but I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I think the only game we weren't in the semifinals was Overwatch, but yeah, definitely we have a
I
stronger
mean, you lost
roster.
to the team that won, so it's kind of different there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for that I'm not that ashamed, but anyways.
Yeah.
I think especially after the first season where my team went in and we lost in the finals, that was like a big blow. I think we also got a bit stressed out from last season just to try to, get back to the finals again. And yeah, but
So-
it's okay.
So if we can talk about stress, I mean, you're obviously, that's that whole storyline, but Viz over on the Amazon side, you've got a team run by PandaLogic to deal with. I mean, what's it like kind of dealing with and kind of controlling and directing all of that passion in the Amazon space?
See, that's there's a trick to it. I've been recently getting really deep into like meditation and like how to control your mind and stuff like that. And one of the
Yeah.
tricks they use in what's the word? They use an analogy, a metaphor, where you could treat your mind as like a horse, and the way you tame a wild horse is you put like a leash around it, right? And then you tie it to a tree, but you don't start with a short leash. You start with like a really, really long leash, and you just let the horse go rampant. Just do whatever it wants. But then little by little, just slowly pull in that leash, and then the horse gets in a state where it's still in control of whatever it's doing, but within the confines that you're working with. And I think PandaLogic is an absolutely amazing organizer, and he's just drilled down and ran through the Overwatch registration in an absolutely fantastic way. He had some wild ideas, but we roll together and we partner through and we make it work.
Yeah, I mean, where do you think that team is? And I want to talk a little bit about practice after this, but where do you think that team is coming into this season as opposed to where they were at the end of last season?
I think the second place finish. I believe they were second place last season, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So I think second place finishes very typically, especially if the roster remains consistent across pretty much any esport, is like a really strong motivator to want to get better, right? You never want to be the second place team. You never want to be the person who has to watch, despite putting in your best efforts, the other team lift the, in this case, metaphorical trophy. And I think that's going to be a really strong motivator to get them to want to practice maybe, a little bit more consistently, a little bit more often, and do a little bit more, intentional prep work for some of the more top tier teams in the bracket.
One of the things that's both exciting and terrifying to me is that there are a couple different teams that I've heard from that spent, this COVID-induced summer actually practicing for this season and actually have not in any way disbanded their teams since the finals of last season, which is exciting, and I'm curious to see how much of an effect that has as we go into preseason in weeks 1 and 2.
I've been hearing a lot about that too, just not even in Overwatch specific, but across all games. Teams have already started screaming each other. Teams have already started practicing. I think there is, more than any previous season, there's a lot of hype and excitement going into this upcoming fall season.
Yeah, I think there's as much hype going into the season as any season I remember in CEA or HGL. I mean, there is just a lot of very excited people, and I think it's going to make for some really really engaging competition.
Definitely.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Pulse.
No, I was just saying it's like it's when you have to stay at home, like, unfortunately, we all kind of have to right now. You don't have a lot to do, and for some people, that's play a lot more, practice a lot more, do whatever. And I think there are definitely going to be some teams that are starting to arise because of that, or show up, or teams that are just going to look even more dominant because of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because you can't just ask someone, "Hey, have you been practicing over the summer?" Because they'll lie to you. They'll just say no. But if you start talking to them and you say, "Hey, are you what have you been doing to prepare?" They'll say, "Oh, we might have practiced a couple times, but don't tell anyone. I don't want them to
Might
know."
have been scrimming, 4 times.
Yeah,
a week, 5 times a week. But
yeah, I think coming into the season, we're going to see a pretty substantial effect from that.
very cool. So
yeah,
Nally, Viz, we've been hyping you guys up quite a bit now. Any takes on your season? Any teams that you're looking to take over? Any milestones that you're looking to achieve this time around?
Yeah, so for our Overwatch team, definitely we have a stronger roster. So I definitely feel like especially like some of our we do have like half of a new roster, but the old roster that has been there since pretty much like the first season we've been playing, we really, really want to get first place. So yeah, look out. And for all of the other Microsoft teams, especially for Valorant, we are actually going to have at least 2 teams for Valorant. And okay, maybe a bit of a spoiler. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but actually, one of those teams is actually composed of the main roster of the team that won CS:GO. So that's also a big team to watch out for.
Oh, we'll see how that goes. All right.
Now I'm curious, did you find it was common for a lot of CSGO players to sign up for Valorant this go around? I noticed that on Amazon.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty funny because sometimes I would see like one of the captains of the CS:GO Microsoft team kind of complaining, being like, "Dude, why are you guys not practicing for CS:GO? Why are you all playing Valorant? Disgusting Valorant." So yeah, there has been a big shift from CS:GO to Valorant. I think that the CS:GO team still wants to play CS:GO, so they've been trying to make like the same team for CS:GO and Valorant and try to participate in it at the same time. I'm not sure how difficult that would be, but I do know like their skill is good enough for Valorant.
It's a lot of clicking on heads. I don't know. That's gonna be tough.
Nice. And how about for you, Viz? Any milestones, any achievements that you're looking to take home this season?
I mean, I feel like from an organizer's perspective, one of the milestones we've already met was just getting more people involved in the tournament and trying to have like as much of a presence as possible across all games. So already from that perspective, we're pretty happy. But I guess if you're asking me from more of like a team captain perspective, we've made a couple modifications to our roster based off of a couple people leaving the team, either for personal reasons or they switched companies, things of that nature. I guess like mild spoiler, like our top laner, for example, for the second time, an Amazon top laner has now joined Google in the League of Legends bracket and is now playing for the Google team. So there's like some kind of metaphor there with Google being the New York Yankees and they're buying all their players out. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
Man, we don't even have someone from Google to defend themselves.
But we'll endeavor to just continue on as we have and just raise the bar and just practice as hard as we can. We are going to win the tournament again. That is a guarantee. Whether or not any other teams are going to step up and drive us past a 4th game in the finals, that's to be determined.
Whoa!
Brad lives for this. I hope you realize that you're making him a very happy man right now.
Oh god. We're doing this tomorrow, guys. Same time.
Same time, same place. Just shit talk in front of Brad.
I would watch that actually.
Okay, I'm game. Let's do it.
Oh my god. Don't encourage him, please.
Bring him back in, Brad. We need to bring him back in.
I will say though, to close out though, like at the end of it all, I hope everyone just has like a fantastic season. I hope they get to have a lot of fun playing and get to meet either their coworkers on their team or other team members in the same company, or even cooler, like if you get to like maybe do some good scrimming with like another team, you become like closer friends. You get to play some games with them, even outside of like the tournament setting. Like at the end of the day, like smack talk and all is all fantastic, but I truly hope that just people get to enjoy getting to meet and connect people, especially in the current landscape of the world we're in, where some people are really isolated in quarantine and they don't necessarily have that capacity to connect with the people that they would love to. So for this in particular season, I really do hope that people can find those connections that I think are really valuable and important. So I hope everyone has fun and has a great season across all games.
Very cool. Well,
Amen. Before
we call this and leave, I'm sure one of the very common things that we have was just enjoying games. So what's one game or one thing that sort of brought you into esports, into gaming, and outside of your current game, like what are you doing on the side for fun? Whether it be like Pokemon or platformers or just big console fan, or what's something that's sort of keeping your attention outside of CEA and esports right now?
Well, on my side, I feel like I only play Overwatch. Like I need to like focus, right? But other than that, I've been playing a lot of TFT. Before Overwatch, I was really into League of Legends, so that was really where I started like all this esports journey. But I'm definitely a lot better in Overwatch. That's why I quit League.
I understand that. I used to play Dota, and
Come back to the dark side.
Pulse used to play Dota. Oh,
yeah,
this is
No.
I'm kind of starting to understand some things, Pulse. Things are making sense now. What about you, Vis?
Kind of in the same boat with League. League, typically the rank season ends like December-ish, so I'm kind of focusing my mindset on just playing a lot of games and trying to grind out like a high rank for the end of the season. So kind of getting sweaty is what we joke in our community about that. Otherwise, though, I'm getting coached by like 9 different people on a Discord server on how to play Slay the Spire. I'm absolutely god awful at it, and probably make them all want to rip their hair out as they try and coach me. But that's been pretty entertaining. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make progress and report back.
right,
Totally.
definitely. It's been wonderful having both of you and having you guys take some time to sort of stop in and talk to us about some of your experiences with us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting.
Appreciate the opportunity.
There will be more.
Definitely hope so, at least, right?
Yeah.
Brad, any closing thoughts for either of our guests? Peter,
You know,
same with you.
Viz really nailed it. You know, guys, I really do hope that everyone, you know, has a really great time this season, that we donate to some fantastic causes, and that we, you know, we make friendships that last and are meaningful and, you know, go beyond just the workplace. And I hope we smash each other's faces in. Like some like mixture of those two things would really be great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure. We're going to do many more of these, and we hope to see you again.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.
All right. And with that, I think we're going to transition just back to us 3 for now. So I will make sure that they get out for now. But Brad, everyone, Peter, closing thoughts, wrap up for this year before we throw everything to the wind and see everyone on preseason match day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like making my notes for the captain's meeting. What I'm going to say, I'm very excited to see what promises to potentially be the biggest season we've ever run in the history of corporate esports. I'm just so excited, more so than I've ever been for a season about this one. I think it's going to be phenomenal.
All right, Peter, thoughts about LoL coming out? Thoughts about CEA? Anything in general?
For LOL, I know Joe said he was gonna try that it wasn't gonna be a contest. And bless my heart, but I hope he's not entirely wrong. I really hope that they're at least able to have a good season and we see some closer matches. Rio last season, I'd like to see a 3-2. Can I have a 3-2 in finals? That's all I'm asking.
All right. Well, like I hinted at earlier, we are planning on bringing these back, so definitely stick around. Our next CEA Live right now is scheduled for 2 weeks out from this exact date, so that would be, if my calendar loads, the 23rd. So check back in. We'll be dropping announcements as those comes around. Corporate Esports Association does, in fact, have some social medias, and you can see them. Wrong. I'll get this right eventually. Right there. CEA that is our Discord. We have a Guilded server, which people should be on by now, hopefully. But if you're not, keep an eye out for your emails to get those registration links and get your teams all signed up for that. If you need any help, any of us would be good to contact. Any of your game leads would be good to contact. Those would be our green names on Discord. And we also have a Twitter, this Twitch, of course, and we will be posting the broadcasts as they come live on our separate Twitches, because we have quite a few now for all of the games that we'll be broadcasting and making sure that everything goes out. So keep an eye out for all of those as well. And with that, Brad, close us out.
Just again, please do follow us on this channel, on Twitter, on YouTube, where this video will be going immediately after this broadcast. You're going to see a lot more broadcasts this season from CEA, telling stories just like these, but instead of before they happen, after they happen, which is going to be even better. We're just so excited for this season to start, and I can't wait for Saturday.
All right, sounds good, and we will see you then.
So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day.
After most of it only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since 2 members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage onto Pandora. Are going to be able to pick up the kill. Twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the second place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day, and like it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustracer taking this next map.